Guys, Chinese doing vasectomies is going just very well. Listen to me in this video. I'm gonna tell you the whole story about it, and I would like you to comment regarding what is your opinion about the subject. In a society where reproductive responsibility has traditionally fallen on women, a growing number of Chinese men are taking to social media to share their experiences with vasectomy, challenging long-standing cultural norms and opening up much-needed conversation about masculinity, contraception, and gender equality. In July 2023, a 26-year-old Liu Luyang underwent a life-changing procedure in just 30 minutes by choosing a vasectomy. Liu became part of a tiny percentage of men in China, as only as 0.02% of men opt for this form of male sterilization. What set Liu apart, however, was his decision to document his entire experience online. Over 6 weeks, he shared his journey through a series of 6 videos titled Sterilization Diaries on the Chinese social media platform Xiaohongshu. Oh, talking about Xiaohongshu, guys, it went so viral. Who of you here downloaded it, and why are you enjoying it? I myself was there for hours just watching how the whole community, American community vs Chinese community, was interacting so friendly, and it was a nice moment. From his first time in the operating room to his recovery at home, Liu offered a candid account of his decision to undergo the procedure, sparking a heated debate in the process. While women expressed admiration for his courage and considered him an ally in a society that often places the burden of contraception on them, many men mocked him, questioning his masculinity and making sarcastic remarks such as, "Have you done a paternity test yet?" Despite the criticism, Liu remained steadfast and continued to share his story. "To me, masculinity means taking responsibility, protecting my family, and making decisions that ensure our future," Liu told Six Tone. This view of masculinity is one that aligns with a small but growing number of men in China who are challenging the status quo and advocating for shared reproductive responsibility. Liu's decision reflects a shift in attitude among a new generation of Chinese men, many of whom are in their 20s and born after 2000. To social media, these men are trying to normalize vasectomy and start conversations that have been largely absent in the offline world. With the support of medical professionals who emphasize the safety and simplicity of the procedure, these men are using their platforms to provide useful information, debunk myths, and address the doubts surrounding vasectomy. These posts have garnered millions of views and sparked a wider dialogue. Liu isn't the only to publicly share his vasectomy experience. 3 men have gained attention on platforms like Xiaohongshu and Douyin, China's version of TikTok, by sharing videos and posts about the procedure. Their experience varies. Some focus on the logistics, such as the cost, hospital protocols, and recovery timeline, while others took a more assertive approach by addressing misconceptions about vasectomy and the supposed impact on masculinity. For many men, the hardest part of the experience is not sharing their stories with strangers online, but confronting family and meeting their parents' expectations. Liu's wife, Chai, a 33-year-old kindergarten teacher, was initially cautious about the procedure. She worried that Liu might be making a hasty decision, but ultimately supported him after doing extensive research on the procedure. However, the backlash came from her mother, who questioned Liu's choice and insisted that Chai get an intrauterine device, youth, instead. Liu, unfazed, pressed ahead with the surgery. In China, the overwhelming majority of sterilization procedures have historically been women's responsibility. In 2020, official statistics show that only 0.02% of sterilization surgeries were vasectomies, while the rest of the procedure predominantly involved women, such as abortion, 61%. As I have been telling you guys, that's a lot, plus the consequences on this is just crazy. And youth insertions, 17%. This disparity underscores the gendered nature of reproductive responsibility in China. While vasectomy is less invasive, safer, and simpler than many female contraceptive options, misconceptions about the procedure persist. Liu Xuefen, a chief physician in Liu Chou Hospital, emphasizes that vasectomy is a straightforward and minimal invasive procedure, which does not affect sexual function. Increasingly, doctors are using social media to advocate for male sterilization, hoping to educate the public and shift in attitude. Liu's own videos offer a clear portrayal of the procedure, providing a step-by-step guide for those curious about the process. In one video, Liu explains how he arrived at the hospital, underwent pre-operative tests, and had the procedure completed with half an hour. He also debunks common myths, assuring viewers that the procedure is virtually painless and carries minimal risks. The cost of the procedure, including all preoperative exams, was approximately 1,600 yuan, which is about 219 USD, with most of it covered by health insurance. Since Liu posted his videos, the topic of male vasectomy has gained significant attraction online, amazing over 230 million views and sparkling 1.38 million discussions on Xiaohongshu. Wow, that's crazy. His videos have resonated with men who are curious about vasectomy, and many have reached out for advice on topics like appointment scheduling, recovering time, and finding doctors. Some even inquire about how to approach the subject with their partners and family. For Lin Shen, a 28-year-old from Sichuan province, the decision to undergo a vasectomy came after a difficult and emotionally charged experience with an unintended pregnancy. After opting for an abortion, Lin and his wife decided to take control of their reproductive future. Lin documented his journey on Xiaohongshu, where over 110,000 people follow his posts. By the 15th day after surgery, Lin had resumed normal sexual activity, and his checkup 2 months later confirmed the success of the procedure. Despite the growing number of men documenting their vasectomy experiences, Joy Lin, the founder of the gender-related initiative Wequality, cautious that societal and cultural barriers remain. In China, sterilization is still viewed as a woman's issue, and the pressures of traditional gender roles persist. Furthermore, Chinese changing family policies, which now emphasize larger families, may contribute to the hesitation surrounding vasectomy. Like always, women have to burden such consequences, it's not fair. Seriously, guys. Anyways, nevertheless, there are signs of change. Thank God, especially among younger generations. Why is it that I say so, guys? Okay, after the article, I'm gonna share with you all what I have experienced living in China as a woman, as a female, regarding this topic. Jiang Yijun, a 35-year-old medical professional from Sichuan, found himself navigating the cultural expectations surrounding his decision. Despite the initial surprise of his parents, they respected his autonomy. Jiang believes that younger generations are more likely to opt out of parenthood or choose sterilization due to the pressures and cost of raising children. He sees this shift as part of a broader movement towards greater gender equality and personal autonomy. Through his videos, Jiang hopes to normalize vasectomy and encourage more men to take responsibility for their reproductive choices. I want to help others to see that vasectomy is a safe, simple procedure and nothing to be ashamed of. He says, with more men like Liu Lin and Jiang sharing their stories, the conversation around male sterilization in China is gaining momentum, challenging societal norms and paving the way for a more equitable distribution of reproductive responsibility. Okay, there's a comment here. Paternity tests should be a standard part of giving birth in today's world. The thing is this, guys, seriously, when I was living in specifically the city of, it was Shenzhen, I remember once I went to the gynecologist because I needed to, I had some issue regarding the humid weather there. And it was just insane, the amount of girls, because I'm just gonna say girls because most of them were 18, less or a little bit more, that were in a line there. it was not in the same line I was just waiting outside the room. That, in China, the thing is like, first you kind of register after you get like wow, you get your number, then you go to the doctor. And while I was waiting for my doctor, I saw this big line, long line of girls just standing there. And when I was called, after I went outside, I was very curious at what were all these girls were waiting for. And it was crazy for me and for my eyes to see, this was almost maybe 10 years ago or more, that once they gave in their papers, the doctor there will be just like, Yao bu yao. She will directly ask this question: do you want it or not? Want it or not? More or less like this. Yao bu yao. And most of them will just be by themselves and will answer like bu yao or yao. Like, it was just a life-changing decision that they have to do at that very moment. And as I previously stated, like the majority of them, if it was not like the 95% of them, were not accompanied by anyone, not their partners who probably got them pregnant, either their boyfriends or lovers or whoever, or maybe old men or bosses, who knows. But they not their families. They were just by themselves, not even their friends. And I was just like, wow, this is just seriously life-changing, like at that very moment you went for maybe a pregnancy test and you end up realizing you're pregnant. I mean them, not me, guys. I have never had this issue. Anyways, this is another story. However, I just thought it will be very hard to be in that position where you have to decide for your life, but it was a no-brainer for them to say buyaola, because their whole entire world will just be crashed. This was about 10 or more years ago, when still the one-child policy was on place, I remember. So I kind of shared this with my friends, and I also added that it was a automatic answer for them to not want the child, because they wouldn't have any future since the one-child policy was still enabled. And in that regard, they will just be single mothers, and nobody will want them because they already had a child. So they have no hope of marrying anyone, and probably the one that got them pregnant didn't want to marry them, otherwise they wouldn't be deciding that way. Or maybe it was too traditional back in the day, whenever you were not supposed to have children outside of marriage, because nowadays it's quite different, Anyways, I just stared there, and this was one of the most traumatized moments I lived in my life in China. At that moment, I was like maybe 24 or so. It was more than 10 years ago, maybe 13 years ago or so. And it was just a very cold-headed thing for me, how they decided on such a question, I still, there are some moments that you live in your life that you don't forget. This is one of them. And I still recall this because whenever you get, girls get pregnant here at the other side of the world, first of all, it's not easy to go. I mean, not in all the country it's legal to do such a decision for abortion. Apart from this, some women will just be like, no, I of course will want the child. I will raise him or her by myself, or the parents will also advocate to be like supporters of this child. If it is the case that the father somehow runs away, doesn't want him, or who knows what, right? Or maybe he's already married. It was like a product of an affair. Anyhow, this happened. And also I live another experience where when I was studying in Beijing, this was longer ago, when I was 21 years old. Now I'm 37, soon 38. So this is almost 20 years ago, raised up here, who is like one of those guys going to China for 20 or more years ago. Well, here's me. I was in BLCU, Beijing Language and Cultural University, and there was this friend of mine who I'm just gonna avoid mentioning the country name. Anyways, she was dating this guy from her same country, and they were living together in the dormitory, foreign dorm, in the same room. Somehow she gets pregnant, And she confessed me, like, I mean, after she got pregnant, after a while I met her, and she confessed me that she went through an abortion in China. And she also confessed me all the side effects of it. Like, she recalls, like, I had these problems after that, and this and that, and almost I was like bleeding nonstop, and all this, like, seriously nonsense up to me, regarding how would you put yourself in that kind of danger, whenever supposedly you have a man with you and he doesn't want to be responsible for the fact that you guys are kind of enjoying the pleasure but not responsible enough to take care of a child, and decide just like for you to be in the risk of making the abortion. Anyhow, this story, I thought it was very nonsense for her to keep going out with the boyfriend after she underwent this risky procedure, and after she confessed to me all the problems that consequently she got from the abortion in China. After years, since after COVID, I remember I arrived here in Mexico, and somehow we got connected in WeChat again. And she confessed me she ended up marrying this guy. She ended up also having two daughters, but end of the story, he cheated on her, and she was already under the procedure of divorce, and she was not being able to pay her bills. I even remember I sent her a home bao, like a red pack, through WeChat. This was almost like 2020, 2021. It was recently, but not that recent. And I was like, I'm so sorry, dear girl. I'll give you this just for you to go and enjoy a meal or something. And I just feel it was really such a waste. She was very smart and beautiful. And she was from these countries in Latin America where girls are usually smart, but usually they just fall for this nonsense, And so once again, I will also emphasize, like, it's very easy for you guys to just judge, like, oh my God, this girl is so fool, is so dumb. Let's say in my case, when I was telling the story about the 38-year-old woman who was still single and wanted to be married, right? And so many of you just commented that that was girl that already didn't have any chance, that she was too old, etc. And if you get to listen these kind of stories, you will also comment like, oh my God, she's such a fool, and this and that. This is a fool because she too early decided on a guy that wasn't worth it. And this is a fool because she passed on those fools, on those not worthy guys. So therefore she's still single. Somehow life or her work or her career, or even sometimes family, if you need to support your family, then you don't have much of a choice to do this or that. Maybe sometimes just time pass by. Anyways, just like abortion or contraceptive procedures, always it's very easy to judge on a woman, but guys, give them a break, Anyways, these are my stories personally lived when I was in China, and I got really traumatized by how hard it would be for them to live through this procedure, especially knowing that guy, either the lover, boyfriend, or whoever, maybe even husband, didn't want the child, or maybe it was just one child policy, so they needed to make abortion. And it's so unfair for a country to decide on your body on that, like, to that extent. I mean, if you were pregnant already, it's too risky, even just because you could not have another child. Then there's no choice for you to just undergo that procedure, no matter the consequences afterwards, like as a woman, So I do believe this movement of men taking conscious decision towards vasectomy is great in order to undergo all these traumatizing procedures, like more women going under these procedures, apart from being also judged and pointed at, either from not marrying or marrying like fools, either for aborting kids or for not having kids. So what do you guys think about it? Please let me know in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up and be welcome to support me. I'll leave you the links down below. Kisses to the world. Bye bye.